Hi fans of high quality entertainment. It's been a while since I've done a top 10 classic rocks albums from the 60s, 70s, and I think I'm almost done the 70s. This might be the final one. I'll double check later because I'm a professional. And 1978, at least for me, there were a lot of great albums. But unfortunately, only 10 could squeeze into my top 10. And as I always say, just remember, I'm not saying these are the best. These are just my personal favorites. Write that down. So I've only got 9 CDs here because one of them is missing, and I'll explain to you when I get to it. There is a long list, well, a fairly long list of great albums that aren't in my top 10. The Clash, Give 'Em Enough Rope. I never used to care for that, but listening to it the last year or so, it's like, oh my God, this is actually a great album. So I love it. Love it. The Deaf School, English Boys Working Girls. Not a very popular band. Kinda a little known, but, more of a cult band. And my favorite album of theirs. Elvis Costello and the Attractions, This Year's Model. Talking Heads, more songs about buildings and food. The Patti Smith Group, Easter. The Ruddles, their great parody of the Beatles. Wire, Chairs Missing. Bruce Springsteen, Darkness on the Edge of Town. Kate Bush, The Kick Inside. Blondie, Parallel Lines. Warren Zevon, Excitable Boy. Van Halen, their incredible debut. The Cars, their incredible debut. The Jam, All Mod Cons. I'm a big Paul Weller fan. I have 13 of his CDs now, but I do need to get into the Jam. I've heard 2 or 3 songs, but I definitely want to start buying their albums. Ramones, Road to Ruin. Dire Straits, their debut album. UK, the first album. Cheap Trick, Heaven Tonight. The Stranglers, Black and White. Neil Young, Comes a Time. The Police, Orlando's D'Amore, if that's how you pronounce it. Bob Seger, Stranger in Town. Billy Joel, 52nd Street. Lena Lovitch, Stateless. The Who Are You? Frank Zappa, Zappa in New York, and AC/DC Power Rage. And yes, there's other albums, but I can't sit here for 10 minutes reading every great album from 1978. So recently I did a video, Great Bands with Not So Great Albums. And this album was mentioned, I think, more than once. And I kind of get it, but once again, for me, personally, I love this album. It is, from 1978, An American Prayer. Jim Morrison, of course, I think they did a really respectful job. Jim Morrison loved his poetry. They had his poetry readings on tape. And, there's some people thinking Jim Morrison wouldn't have liked this, and others think that he would. I think he would have, myself. And the music is great. I love the poetry. It's always interesting, and it's one of my favorite Doors albums, actually. So that's number 10. Number 9. Ba 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 Autobahn. Ba 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 Autobahn. I make myself laugh. Kraftwerk, Autobahn. Yeah. I play this, actually, Radioactivity I probably like a little bit more, but Autobahn I love. And their later albums, I do have a couple of their later albums, but they don't interest me as much. So I rarely play them, but I play Autobahn and Radioactivity quite a bit. So that's number 9. Number 8 I've talked about quite a bit on my channel, and I think it is getting some more respect in the last few years, but when it came out it certainly didn't get too much respect. It is Black Sabbath, Never Say Die, a very strong album. Never Say Die, Johnny Blade, Junior's Eyes, A Hard Road, one of my favorite Sabbath songs. Side 2 of the vinyl is, a little weaker, but overall I still think it's a very strong Black Sabbath album. Number 7, once again I feel this is a very underrated album and one of my favorites by Queen, Jazz. Fat Bottom Girls, Bicycle Race, Let Me Entertain You, Dead on Time, which is one of their heaviest tracks, Leaving Home Ain't Easy, Don't Stop Me Now. Excellent. Number 6, one of my all-time favorite solo artists. It is Lou Reed with Street Hassle. Dirt is probably one of my all-time favorite Lou Reed songs. You're a pig of a person. I've always loved that line. And then of course Street Hassle, which features Bruce Springsteen doing a little spoken word bit. And then side 2 is, I believe all of it is live, but it's still very, very good. Number 5, once again, some fans of this band don't care for this album, but when it came out, I think this might have been the first album of theirs that I bought. Otherwise, I just listened to my brother's albums when they would come out. And I saw them on this tour, but I loved it right away. Yes, Tornado. I even like the cover. The production is a little on the wonky side, I guess. And it would be nice if Steven Wilson could somehow remix this, but supposedly the master tapes are missing from what I've read. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong once before. Number 5. Number 4. This was a big comeback album for this band. Even I'd lost interest in them a little bit, and when I bought this, it was so good. The Rolling Stones, Some Girls. And then Tattoo You was great, and Emotional Rescue was kind of so-so when it came out. I thought it was just okay, but I love it a lot more now. Some Girls. Number 3, once again, one of the great debut albums. I remember, back in the day, of course, there was no internet in 1978, believe it or not. So you would just read articles on bands, and so I wasn't sure, because you never knew when you bought an album, because they weren't on the radio. A band like this wasn't on the radio at the time. So you're taking a chance buying it, but I was impressed with it right away. Devo. Question, are we not men? Answer, we are Devo. Uncontrollable Urge, their superb cover of I Can't Get No Satisfaction. They totally, they didn't, I understand why some people hate that, because doesn't sound like the Rolling Stones' I Can't Get No Satisfaction. But they just made it a Devo-ish song, and I love it. Praying Hands, Space Junk, Mongoloid, Jocko Homo, one of my favorite songs, and more great songs. Number 2, I don't have. I haven't had it. I don't think I've ever had it on CD. And I forgot to print it out, but you can buy it used for over $70 if you like. But I'm hoping this is the year that the Wings London Town comes out. When the album came out, me and my friend bought it. He was a big Paul McCartney fan like I was. And we were both disappointed because it was so mellow, wasn't, it didn't have any Junior's Farm type songs on it. So it was disappointing. But after a few listens, both of us started to really appreciate it, and it's one of my favorite Wings, Paul McCartney / Wings albums. And I'm just hoping it comes out this year in the archive edition. It should. It better. Number 1, there's certain albums that you just play a lot through the years. And every year I play this at least maybe one, I guess like 12 times a year. So that'd be a dozen times. About once a month. Yeah. Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band, Shiny Beast, Bat Chain Puller. And I also have what was the original Bat Chain Puller. It finally came out a few years back. And it's great too. So I love that one. And it features my very favorite Captain Beefheart song, You Know You're a Man. But then there's, the Floppy Boot Stomp, Tropical Hot Dog Night, Harry Irene, When I See Mummy, I Feel Like a Mummy, Suction Prince, a great instrumental. And it's not, it's not like Trout Mask Replica. It's not too weird. So I highly recommend you check this out someday. And that is it. I would love your thought. And remember, those are my favorites. So I would love to know, what are some of your favorite albums from 1978? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.